Hi, welcome to Theater Corner. I'm your host, Michael Taylor. Theater Corner was created as an ongoing effort to create more diverse interest and involvement in the theater scene. So, silence your cell phones, folks. You're about to enter Theater Corner. I'm here in San Francisco, California with our guest, Sherri Young. How are you, sister?
Hi,
welcome to Theater Corner.
Thank you. I like that. How are you, sister?
That's how we do it here in Theater Corner. And so you are the founder and executive director of African American Shakespeare Company.
Yes, I founded it when I was 10 years old. I don't know why you're laughing. I guess the white streak is giving me away.
You founded the theater company
in 1994.
1994.
Yes, I think I thought of the concept in 93, but the first production we did was in 1994, in February, Black History Month.
Oh, really?
A 2-day showcase. And it was really started for me to find a job for myself as an actress. Well, let me just say that was one of the end goals there. At the time, back in the early 90s, we were having a lot of movies like Boys in the Hood, New Jack City, and there was a certain stigma of what black actors, who they were and what they could do.
I see.
And at the same time in theater, they were being chastised because it was all white. The actors, the productions, and everyone said, let's get some diversity on the stage. Let's mix it up. Let's have people of color. So a lot of these large theater companies had a diversity thing, like putting a black person in this role, an Asian in that role, somebody in a wheelchair rolling across the stage. But the problem is that it wasn't diversifying the audience.
I see.
So you still had the 80-year-old, blue, white-haired, older white generation coming to see the shows and not the communities of color.
I see.
Because it didn't speak to us. You know, it was still, let's say, Richard II in European setting and concept. It was nothing that my community, my grandmother or my father, my dad or my sisters or my friends would want to see. So I kind of thought, well, why don't I just create Shakespeare in a way that is set in a different setting, a different cultural icons, music, clothing, and make a parallel with the storyline that can fit with contemporary reality for our communities. So that's what we always attempt to do with African American Shakespeare Company.
What was your very first production?
Well, it wasn't a production. See, back then, I bankrolled it myself after getting out of an M.F.A. program. So I had like $3,000 on a credit card, which was good credit back then. And I rented the space, and all we did was scenes because I really wanted to be like a showcase. In my young 20-something-year-old mind, the concept was I was going to show the theater community what they could be doing. They'll see how brilliant I was on the stage. They want to hire me for their shows, And then it wasn't supposed to be a company. The only reason why it turned into a company was because after this showcase that sold out, it was only a 70-seat house, but we had so much publicity that people kept asking and calling the space or venue we were performing, saying, when are they going to do more? When are they going to have classes? I said, I wasn't planning to do all that. I was just doing a 2-day showcase.
Right.
And after the showcase, we said, well, you know what? It seems like people want to see a little bit more. There must be some kind of interest. So African American Shakespeare Company started.
And part of your mission statement, to open the realm of classic theater to diverse audience, and to provide an opportunity and place for actors of color to hone their skills and talent in mastering some of the world's greatest classical roles.
Yes.
And you're doing exactly that.
We are, yes. The thing is that you don't get a chance to really put your mind and your talent around these roles until you're exposed to it.
Correct.
There's a lot of us black actors that's going to do the August Wilson, that's going to do the Lorraine Hansberry, that's going to do Trevor McNally. There's a lot of us that's going to do those certain roles, and we know what those roles are all about. But a lot of us do not get perceived to doing some of the other roles. And there is a technique, there's a method, and I've been watching Peter, who's our artistic director, work for us for over 8 years. And I know that people who are comfortable in moving in their bodies tend to be stronger at performing Shakespeare. Those who wrap their hearts around the language. It's just something about having the opportunity to actually do the roles that you start to learn, and you can see how you do it better. And then you are now opening up your realm as an artist to be able to step into any role that you want.
Right.
And you're not just pigeonholed into, you know, whatever the new concept is for the Black America at the time.
This evening, you're having opening night of Richard III.
Yes.
Which is a completely Black cast.
Well, actually, I think we have one Latina. I'm trying to go through the whole cast in my head. Yeah, I think besides the one Latina, I think yes, a completely Black cast. Yes.
Well, with L. Peter Callender
as Richard.
This is going to be something powerful.
Oh, you know okay. So the thing is that Peter and I, we get into my office and we talk about what the season is. And I try to stay in my lane. I try to let other people do their, jobs as artistic director. And there are certain roles that I've always wanted to see Peter do. And I brought up Richard III because I saw it in London with Sir Ian McKellen. And I just love the fact that the character is manipulative. And he talks to the audience and he tells them exactly what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. And I just love that kind of stuff. And I thought Peter would be great.
Another thing that I really admire about your company is you keep the ticket prices low.
We wanted to make it affordable. I mean, I was in New York back in October 2017. And my sister wanted to treat me for a birthday weekend. And she wanted to pay like $400 to see the Book of Mormon. I said, I'm like, nah, I want to have some fun in New York. I can't have that be the only thing I do is to see the show.
Right.
And, I get how expensive it is to put on a production. But I don't want to make the ticket prices so out that you don't even want to consider going because it costs so much. I mean, theater used to be, my mom and dad used to tell me when they lived in New York, they would go to theater all the time. It was their movie experience. And it was affordable. They would go out for drinks afterwards, and it was part of the nightlife. Now, we're kind of like, we need to get a babysitter, what dinner, out for 3 hours. Oh, we got to work in the morning or get up and do little league soccer. People's time has been shortened. And there's so many barriers. I don't want to increase our ticket price to like people say you should be $120 per ticket. I'm like, no, let's keep it affordable. And it's even more affordable when you're a subscriber. So so let's keep it affordable, and we reward the ones who are still our patrons, and we're introducing ourselves to other new people in the community as well.
Another thing I was blown away by, every year you do your own version of Cinderella.
Yes.
And so I was here this past December and completely enjoyed it.
Good.
You've made some modifications to the classic story.
Yes, we made some modifications, and people say, well, I guess I could share those modifications. They're not like a big, a secret. The thing is that one year, when I was thinking about African American Shakespeare, I was like, what are those roles that we always wanted to be a part of, but really not at the table in a significant way? And Cinderella is one of those classic stories that Black little girls don't get to see themselves as being the princess, literally the princess. So Cinderella got on our roster, I think it was about 17 years ago. And I was watching a production with I don't know if it was San Francisco Ballet, but it's a ballet version on television. And they had these men dressed in dresses as the evil stepsisters. And it was just hilarious. I was delighted. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. I am going to put men as the evil stepsisters. And the very first year we did it, I had some resistance from people. But on opening night of 1,000 people,
it killed.
It killed. The audience just hollered.
Yes,
because there's such a freedom for men to want to act goofy and
Right,
crazy.
right.
And we did try it a couple of times, like having females in the role. And the females are all right, you know?
yeah.
But there's just something special about the men and the jokes that we have, yes.
Talk about influencing young minds and young Black girls seeing themselves, able to see themselves on the stage. You had one particular actor that played Cinderella who actually saw it when she was a young child.
I never thought I would live that old for somebody to come up to me and say, I saw this show or I saw you when I was just a little girl. And they're like in their 20s now. So we had a couple of experiences. One of our actresses, we had a few. Jasmine Williams, she came to audition for me in the role of Cinderella. And she said, you know, I love the show. I've been watching it ever since I was with your theater company, ever since I was about 7 years old.
Wow.
And I'm like, how old are you now, honey? So, and we did have 1 year where Jazara Metcalf, she started with us as one of the young Cinderellas, which is somebody in the ages from 4 to 7 years old. She graduated to playing one of the grandchildren, which has more dialogue. Then all of a sudden I realized she got, at the age of 12, she was too tall to be a grandchild. So I put her in the ballroom dancing scene. And then, you know, she's auditioning for Cinderella. And now she's going off to UC Berkeley. So
incredible.
Yeah.
And that's why I would say theater matters.
It
We
does.
see things like that happening. That's why theater matters. For real.
People say that they love to come back us because we're home, you know, we're home. I'm still here. Peter has trained so many actors and they have gone on to have some very nice careers in the theater here in the Bay Area. So, you know, we would love to have more people come back home. So,
So you manage 60 company members and volunteers. You've directed 16 productions yourself.
yeah, it could have been more. I've lost track. I put that on the website because that's all I can remember at the time. Yes.
You take on quite a bit. But on top of that, you do classes, Shake It Up, and student matinees, teacher's night out. You are doing quite a bit.
Well, you know, it's all about, we're only on this life for a certain amount of time, and if you don't have an impact in someone else's life, then someone said, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. Do something for somebody else, make someone else feel important. And the small things that I can do, see, I'm not gonna run a marathon.
Right.
That's not gonna be me, you know. So I am, you know, I'm not gonna do certain things, but I will stay in my lane of giving with the theater. So that's why we have over 3,500 kids come see our productions for free on student matinee days on Thursdays. Whole classrooms come in and it's part of the process. I volunteer my time to do drama workshops. I conduct them at the Boys and Girls Club. I've done it within the school. Volunteer my time, not somebody else, my time. Teachers' Night Out is a commitment that we have, that we want our educators to feel valued. I mean, the few times I have worked continuously in a classroom, well, that tires you out. So we invite them, only teachers, and they get to have one guest to come and preview our shows for free.
Wow, very nice.
And they appreciate. They like, we got to go out to dinner and have their spouse or significant other, and it's fun.
You're setting the example as a
I'm
theater
like,
company.
not everyone does that. They should.
But before we go any further, I want to personally congratulate you. You were just awarded the Jefferson Award.
Yes, for public service.
For public
Yes.
service.
I don't know. I don't know why I keep doing public service. It's just one of those things of giving. Yes, I was nominated by an ex-board member who is still a good supporter of me and the organization, and it's such an honor to be a Jefferson Award recipient. And I get a little pen and a nice medallion, and yeah, it's, you know, I have to do something on this earth while I'm here that's leaving something significant behind. So.
Wow, that's so well deserved.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So for your company, what do you have for, what do we have, 2018-2019 season?
2018-2019 season. So I love this season. It's a little bit different than what we've done because a lot of people say, African American Shakespeare, don't you just do Shakespeare? And it's like, yes, we started out that way, But to tell you the truth, there are other playwrights who are in the classic realm, meaning that they will withstand the test of time.
Right.
So we're talking about things like The Color Museum by George C. Wolfe. We're talking about Tennessee Williams, A Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Right.
We're talking about August Wilson.
Yeah.
So there are American playwrights who are in that classic realm, and we didn't do just Shakespeare. We did Moliere, we did Chekhov, we did Ibsen. So with that in mind, our first show in September 2018 will be for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. And Peter and I both wanted a show where it was an intimate cast with a powerful message and something that hasn't been done in the San Francisco Bay Area. This show has not been professionally produced in over 25 years in the San Francisco Bay Area, yes. Second show is in December, and of course you know that's Cinderella. Family favorite. People are stopping me on the streets and in the elevators like, when are those tickets going on sale? Because we sold out all 4 shows that we had the performance.
Right.
And the third show is Leslie Lee's Black Eagles, about the Tuskegee Airmen fighters in World War II. And Peter was in the Broadway production of that show. And what sold me on the show was it starts off with the old timers in their 60s, benefiting Colin Powell, and they begin to reminisce about their days as air fighters, and 6 young men stand in front of them as their younger selves, and the 6 young men are acting out the entire story.
Wow.
So I'm excited to see that, yes. And our last show is the Scottish play. Now, see, we're in a theater setting right now.
Right.
And I don't know if your viewers know, but there's a tradition that you do not say the name of the Scottish play because it is a curse. It has bad will. And I have had other actors that have told me that like lighting instruments fall in, people have broken legs.
Oh, wow.
I'm not saying the name because we're opening up Richard III tonight. So.
Okay. So any actors out there with the ideas of starting a theater company?
Oh my gosh.
You've gone through it from square one to where you are now, which is quite
Yes.
successful. What advice would you give any person thinking of
Oh my
starting
gosh.
this?
Okay, so the advice that I would give any person thinking about starting your own theater company, do it. And let me tell you that you will fail. And that is part of the learning lesson. So you have to keep just doing the steps. And as you do each step, you will learn something new. And I think any good founder or director or executive director will put their hands and understand all the jobs that are needed in a theater, because that way you have so much more respect and you treat your fellow designers, your help, like, thank you so much. What do you need? And you'll understand it better. And then have fun. If I don't get to laugh every day, if I don't find some kind of joy that I'm doing this for, I shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
So yes, have fun and have a real purpose. Like, have a mission of what you're trying to achieve, not just trying to be in a show for yourself like I tried.
And so this is a nonprofit.
Yes, it is.
And just like any other theater company, it requires
It requires love,
yes. and real money.
And real money.
American
yes,
money.
Yes.
Real,
Not monopoly money.
Real,
yes.
real dollars. So anyone viewing that would want to give or become a sponsor for African American Shakespeare Company would do what?
Well, they should contact us. We do have a corporate sponsorship, or his name is Marcus Hayes, but they should call us at 415-762-2071, extension 6 to get our main office.
Okay.
And that's the best way. Another way is they can send me an email. Our email address is, or mine is SYoung, SYoung, at African-American Shakes with the S.org.
Okay.
It's a long email address and URL, but
thank you. You've been very generous with your time, because I know today is opening night. You've got a million things to do, but you've been quite generous, and I really appreciate you. And I really appreciate what you're doing with this company. It's really quite astounding.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that.
And so I'm looking forward to production tonight.
Fabulous.
and you just keep doing what you're doing, sister. You're doing it well.
Well, thank you.
All right. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in to another episode of Theater Corner, and we'll see you next time.